Hello everyone, this is MykeCheck'd95 with another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review, and we finally have finished this, again I will repeat, this godforsaken trilogy.
Not
I am
God-forsaken.
with my
It's
cohorts.
delicious.
God blessed.
And wonderful.
Cohorts.
Krieger Margin 1.
And
Orphen Joker.
I enjoy this film.
you let's go first.
This was my favorite of these three, and I felt like it was a good ending to the Skywalker saga. And it made up for a lot of the sins that happened in the previous one. They made a shit ton of money on this film, I can tell you. Shit ton of money. So I think that there are still a couple issues with the film, but overall I really like it. I wish it would have had Jar Jar Binks.
Nope.
He
did.
He did. I didn't really like the idea of them rehashing Palpatine again, but the way they did it was really good. The Force healing is a very interesting concept. I wish that Anakin would have known that. It would have solved a lot of issues, and we probably would have never got to this point if Anakin knew how to Force heal.
He didn't have Force love.
He didn't have a bond with somebody. If only him and Obi-Wan could have had that bond. Or maybe him and Darth Maul. Maybe they could have been pen pals.
It's a light side thing, I think.
I felt like that was an interesting concept, and like Kylo Ren has a good character development, and he, like I said, it's kind of like a what if Darth Vader would have betrayed. It would have kind of went kind of like that. So if you ever want to say, hey, these sequels are bad, just replace those two with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. And fanboys like that would say it's so much better, even though it's the exact same story. Overall, as this particular movie, I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Even watching it the second time through, I really enjoyed it. Sequels overall, between the sequel trilogy, these three, rate it like a 6. Because I think they fucked up their execution. They had like good first intro movie, bad, terrible movie that didn't make any sense, and then good exit movie, but it would have been so much better if the second one would have had better build-up for this story, because half this movie was fixing mistakes from the previous movie. Hopefully the next time they decide to do another trilogy thing, they keep the same director, and all three of them, and that same director is J.J. Abrams.
Okay, so to repeat something you said earlier, you said that I'm not a fan of this trilogy because I was a kid and grew up with the original 6, and that same mystique is gone with this trilogy. That is actually not the case, because I could go back and watch the original 6 films and have that same, ooh, this is actually fun and cool, and oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. I don't still, even after this one, I still don't get that same energy, and this one actually, it dropped a little bit, honestly. And it's not because okay, so I made the comment during this review saying that like when it got to the part at the start of the second, I think, lightsaber fight that Kylo and Rey had, for me, from that part on was when it tried to actually start Star Warsing, in my opinion. And then there was a couple hiccups at the end where I was like, oh god, they just hit that rock hard. So my problem with the first half was knowing me as a movie person and whatnot, and I was trying to look at this as a movie itself and try to put the Star Wars segment part on like the back burner for the time being. As a movie itself, I felt the first half was rushed, shot really poorly, as it was like chop 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 chop, like as if it had to do reshoots. Like that scavenger hunt in the first half looked like it was reshot like at least twice, and it looked like it was edited really bad. And the scavenger idea, I mean, I get they're trying to get parts here and there, but if it was just shot a little bit better in my eyes, and it didn't seem like it was like chopped up together like a first-time YouTuber, I felt like it could have been. It felt as choppy as some of my reviews go. And I know some of my editing on my reviews aren't the best, so that's my thing. I expected more fluid like transitions and everything. It was just like bop 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 bop. Also, who wrote Kylo Ren's dialogue?
I like his dialogue.
His dialogue. Okay, I'll be honest. His dialogue in the first two films, specifically in the second one, I feel like was better than this one. Because this one felt like a first grader wrote it. Because it was like, right, join me, right.
Right, tell me where you are. So that's where you are. I'll come tell you.
It's like, it just felt like a first grader wrote it. I'm not saying I don't exactly hate this movie. I don't hate it, I just don't, again, I don't have that same mystique, and I feel like if that first half was shot and edited better, I would have had a better time watching it. The direction is a whole lot better than it is in The Last Jedi. Like I said, I could tell the first half looked like it was reshot. It really did in my eyes. Overall story, it was better than the second one. The only reason why I say this near the end, I had a couple hiccups here and there, is because I was getting that same feeling like, oh, okay, we're getting a whole complete rehash of episode 6 here. That's cool. It's not like I hadn't seen that before. And I get like there's symbolism and callbacks and everything, but a lot of it was almost like punch for punch.
Which is J.J. Abrams' directing style, as he loves symbolism and things.
Yeah, like I like hints and symbolism here and there, but the part where Emperor was like, "Look at your friends, they're dying. We're gonna kill them all." Yada yada yada. It's literally word for word exactly what happened at the ending, and I feel like it could have been done.
Was so good.
I feel like it could have been done in a different direction. Keep the symbolism, but done and just a little bit better instead of doing it like shot for shot, exactly the same. I could put them side by side.
He said, "Do it."
Literally,
do it
side by side. I could put the two endings side by side. It was almost exactly the same.
They're doing completely different dynamics with the same thing happening. So
I get that.
It's creative and it's good. They're doing the same thing, but completely different at the same time.
I will say that as a film itself, it does get a 7.2. And it's still a little low in my eyes, but as a film itself, it's good because it's actually, I feel like they're trying to do something different in this movie, finally. That actually is not like, why the fuck are they at a casino? Why the fuck are they doing this? Why the fuck are they doing that? It's something different. The callbacks, the symbolism, literally shot for shot, kind of hurt it a tiny bit, in my opinion, but it's like 0.2 points better than the first two films. As a trilogy itself, I mean, it had two average to above average films, which makes it better than the prequel trilogy automatically. Because the prequel trilogy had the ending fight scene in the first film, which was the only good part in my opinion.
I think we need a whole different video for that discussion, because I completely disagree with that.
What was your rating saying the trilogy was, like a 6?
Yeah, overall.
I would have to give it a 5. No, I'm not being extra. Like, I mean, like, I feel like, I mean, I know your rating is different than mine, but I feel like it's lower than a 6. It has to be a 5 because the mystique is not there anymore.
I definitely felt the mystique on the ending of this, with the final battle with him.
Yes.
The way that they set it up, the way they did it, he got fucked up by his own goddamn lightning again because
Yes.
he's a dipshit like he always is.
Yep.
And that was the only moment where the mystique was there. It was
And
like, oh, cool.
the fucking lightning in the sky, and boom, that was the most badass thing I've ever seen in Star Wars, of any of the Star Wars.
I'm not saying anything bad about that.
That was
stuff.
cool as fuck.
Like, a lot of the stuff near the end of this film was actually really good, and I liked more than the rest of this entire trilogy. Long story short, this is the strongest film in the entire trilogy, but as a trilogy itself, it's not good because of the direction of all three films together were completely out of fucking whack, which is why it's a 5 for me.
I feel like if they didn't fuck the second one, this would be a good trilogy, but they fucked it.
I agree. So, I think the movie's good. Science time for Josh to do it. They had more science in here, and so things that blew up didn't blow up way too big. When Finn goes and catches Rey, he's wearing an air mask because they're kind of in space and you kind of need to be able to breathe. Versus the last one, which is just, I'm Leia, which they did not explain how Leia was able to, like, I'm going back to the ship now and why this is important.
Because they ignored that bullshit.
Yes. Other things in this movie that I really liked. Lightsaber battle was pretty good. The end lightsaber battle, they had the middle lightsaber battle, they had ones at the beginning. That was really cool. It opened up with lightsaber battle, so that's something that I like to see. When it opened in the opening scene, it wasn't like, hey, we're in this new place and we're not going to tell you what's going on. They didn't directly say, but they showed, like, Kylo's tired, he's out fighting battle, he's searching for this thing, and then you go on to the Millennium Falcon and you find Poe and Chewie and Finn sitting there playing a game. Everybody looks rugged, they got new haircuts, you can tell time has passed, and that's a lot different than the second one, because it's like, hey, time's passed, but you wouldn't know it because we're not going to talk about it or act like it or show it. And so that was kind of rough. When I think of a true Star Wars film, I think of them going places, having lightsaber battles.
Because they weren't stuck on the same ship or stuck on the same island.
And so they got to go. They had a plan. They did a thing. They searched for this thing. Another thing about Star Wars is having maps and travel, which they had in the last one, but they did it in this one too. Maps, travel, dynamic. And so I felt like
Why'd you remind me of that?
it had.
Destroying. You keep going, but you're reminding me of something that pissed me off.
I like the aspect of it that they actually travel, they actually do things. They have I know everybody, the three of us were like, oh look, they referenced Endgame, and I'm gonna say no, they didn't reference Endgame. I know it was just a joke, but
it was my joke.
It's in everything, and so it's the same trope, and so I like they did that final trope. Y'all know the reinforcements come at the last second. It happens in Lord of the Rings. It happens in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's in all kinds of old westerns. The posse shows up at the last second, and so that was really cool. One thing about this movie that I would have changed, it would have been that Kylo had to die after healing. It's weird. Rey's really good at healing. Kylo's not good at healing. Kylo brings Rey back. Rey can't heal Kylo.
She's completely zapped of energy. She barely survived.
That's true. Another thing, they're not direct callbacks, but to see humor introduced into it. Even if it's dry, even if it's not necessarily funny, that weird, like, smack talk back and forth. What's up, princess? Nothing. Space pirate, you know. Like, that banter back and forth, even with the old one, between Anakin and Obi-Wan, having that, like, interesting banter is something that I want to see in a Star Wars movie. One of my favorite things in this entire movie is the joke that they made when the guy's like, I'm the spy, and they're like, what? I'm the spy. Like, why? And he's like, because I want to kill. It's like, okay, huh?
He wants to kill
Kylo. Everybody's like, I want to kill, and it's like, what happens? He gets killed. He's like, oh, hey, look, it happened. And he's like, blast.
My favorite thing
Epic and gold. The bad guy gets shot in the chest by his superior.
my favorite thing is whenever C-3PO said, that's one of my oldest friends.
My oldest friends. That was cool.
From
Yes.
2 scenes
And then when they're like fighting, it's like, hi. He's like, hi, I came to fight, even though I don't know what's going on. He's just little guy. There was more world building. You got to see more aliens. You got to see more towns that the First Order and the Empire had been, like, destroying and taking over. They did some flashbacks to old armor that you saw just laying on the ground when you went to the wreckage. That was really cool. You get to see the chess game, and Chewie cheats, because Chewie always cheats, which is a reference throughout all the other Star Wars movies. And Lando gets his ship back.
You mean Han ship?
Nope, it's his ship. So the rating of this movie as itself, I did like the first one, but I felt like this one was able to stay super intense, stay on topic, stay focused. I have to agree that it was very quick in the beginning. It seemed really quick, like they were trying to both tell the story as it was and fix the second one at the same time, which they did a really good job of fixing it, yes. And so I'm going to give this one, I don't want to give it lower than the first one. I feel like this was the best one in the trilogy. I would give it, what would I give the other one?
Here's his other ratings from the last two movies. You said
I would give this one an 8.5. If I enjoyed watching this, I think I would watch it again. There wasn't any major plot holes, no science holes, no extra stupid mumbo jumbo that wasn't necessary, and they kept the dry humor, banter, friendship, connection thing. That was really cool. And then once again, the end. Every good Star Wars trilogy has to end with space ghosts waving at people, going, "Hi, I love you."
And it birthed the greatest meme of all time. Insert greatest meme of all time here, Michael.
What was the hatred behind the whole her saying Skywalker? Because I heard about it, but I never.
Because
she's
her
not
last name's
really.
Palpatine.
Because she's not really a Skywalker.
And people
Like,
didn't
she's
it.
not literally a Skywalker, and people did not like it. There was like, how dare you stand where he stood memes.
What I think about as a rating for this trilogy overall, I'd like to just cut 2 out. If I could cut 2 out, I would definitely give it an 8.5. But because 2 is in there,
2 is like a bad son.
yeah, and because there's bleeps in the middle that I don't understand, other things insert. We're not going to insert things, but things you have to go outside of watching the movies to explain, like what I would feel are important details and added things that they had to fix later, that I'm going to give it, as a trilogy, a 7. But I'm a big Star Wars fan, and so the other two trilogies, I give them like a 9.5, 10.
Well, in the future, we'll probably be reviewing the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Which I'm honestly excited for the prequel trilogy.
And 4K. And Josh is going to complain about 4K the entire time.
This movie
Is this grainy? Is this grainy at all, guys?
No, I was asking.
I don't give a shit! It was! It is not! Listen, you complain if there's a fucking glimmer in the corner, reflection that nobody can tell, so of course you're gonna notice the goddamn
grainy
pixels.
as hell!
I don't give a shit, it looks fucking beautiful! You're just like, hey look, these main characters look fucking astonishing, but if you look at the shadows in the corner, there's a slight blemish on it.
When she was
Let's just go back to
when
fucking...
she was in Kylo's room, literally, it was super pixelated.
Let's just...
in Kylo's room.
Let's just go back to fucking 720p
And
then.
see.
Let me break out the goddamn color cables real fast. We're gonna go back to that. I'm taking away this goddamn nice ass TV, and we're gonna go back to the 13-inch one, and we're gonna huddle around color cables.
It's
Okay,
because
can I
color
close this video out now?
I thought we already did.
No, I didn't do the sign out. You were just trying to end it before I could do the sign out. This is MykeCheck'd 95, and we are done with the Star Wars trilogy. We will be back with more movie reviews down the road.
It's bison.
It's what?
Bison.
Bison. Bison. Okay, we're signing out. Confusing.
It's like